What's up, everybody? Welcome to Witts In Podcast. I am your host, Devin Witt, alongside my co-host, Joe the Show.
What's up?
And today is going to be interesting. You know, I can definitely tell you I've never felt the need to jump to someone's defense in my life or say, "Oh my gosh, this is outrageous. I need to get on social media and talk about this." But that all changed this week whenever one of my favorite comedians, Davidlucas, comes under fire for making a racist joke. And, unfortunately, due to the times that we live in, what do you do in that situation? You can either double down or make that public apology, and then you're left to whatever they want to make you do next. So with that, guys, I do want to show this video for context. I can't say I've ever labeled an episode explicit, but there's going to be a lot of explicit language used throughout. So if you have children listening, tell them to go to the other room.
The reason George Floyd got his neck nailed off. Don't ooh at that joke. It's just a joke, man. I would have never kneeled on George Floyd's neck. I would have shot that nigga. That was making us look.
You know about George Floyd before you get your ass up there. You really should know to be funny, don't you know that?
It's called comedy, nigga. How many more black fans I gotta hear that might leave? Oh, good shit, man. I got. Cause nigga, I was just warming up with that George Floyd shit. You ready to go? All right, baby. Okay. All right, you offended too, baby, with the braids? Right. You offended too? God damn, man, stop. Y'all good? Or y'all about to... Oh,
And we come here all the time with your ass work out.
I like Kyle Rittenhouse too. I like Kyle Rittenhouse too. You too, bro? God damn, bro. Oh, but you fuck with me a little bit, right? See that? Yeah. Damn, one more guy. Damn, man. That nigga don't even want to go, but his ride leaving. He don't even want to go. He like, man, I don't like George Floyd either, man. That nigga had fentanyl. God damn, you got to stoop low for a joke. George Floyd would have robbed you too, bitch.
There it is. That's the cancelable offense in today's world for making a George Floyd joke. Unfortunately, in today's world, you're not allowed to joke about dead people.
Well, there's an offensive side of it regardless. It doesn't matter the situation, whether it's a good person, bad person. There's, talking ill of the dead. I can understand that point of it. I don't think that's what the people were bent out of shape about. I don't know what other stuff you have on here to show people, but there's way more. I think there's more context to people leaving. There's more context to that video because I have seen it. But as far as what he said, I'd be 50-50 with it. I mean, in the comedy, the thing of it is, I hope I'm not jumping way ahead, but I may just end up being redundant in what I'm saying. He's very known to make racist jokes.
Yep.
And so it's like no surprise you should hear him say something like that. Too, the thing of it is these people that are going where they're leaving, where they're staying is irrelevant to me. I don't think they bought tickets to this comedic act, this guy, not knowing who he was. I mean, like, why would you buy tickets to just some rando just showing, just showing up? So they knew to some level what they were getting into. And so he makes a shot at George Floyd. A lot of people have opinions on it. The bottom line of it is, from what they said, I mean, whether they shot him or not is, to me it's irrelevant. The dude was on drugs. And this guy also stands up. I don't know. I don't really say he's against cops, but he's not really for them either. I mean, he's kind of has a neutral ground. And I would even say he's white. I kind of have some of the same from listening to him. I was probably had some of the same viewpoints. Not, and I know that that'll probably come up in here too, but, not putting yourself in a position to make the situation work worse by the way you act. So anyway, the people that left, there's a lot of heckling going on. The thing of it is, you're there, you're still in the dude's act, you're still in his show. What do you expect him to do? He's going to make fun of you. Pretty much any comedian's going to do that. So there's a lot of things that people leave in that it is. But anyway, the point of this is, it's not so much that, it's the people that got involved in it.
And that's where it gets crazy. Is like, so I mean, you heard the laughs. The audience was loving it, and like, oh, someone can easily make the comment of, well, it was a mostly white audience or whatever. At the end of the day, it's a comedy show, and what's the point of it? To be funny.
Well, people have to understand. People can say, "Well, it's a mostly white audience, mostly black audience." The bottom line of it is, and I've said this before: statistics. Statistically, in America, I'd have to go back and look at the numbers, but it's more than 50% over black people. White people are the predominant race, is what they would call white. And really, ain't no white people anymore, really. But as labeled white, that's a predominant race. So pretty much in any situation, you're going to have a predominantly white, whatever. Maybe not everything, but to some level, that's going to be. So I don't buy that excuse. Just statistically with not demographics, but just race, white is predominant one. I mean, now I could understand if you go to a specific, and maybe people's looking at that. Well, he's black, so it's going to be a predominantly black, community
Or
being
audience,
there. No, that's
yeah.
I don't know if that's profiling, categorizing,
Stereotyping.
but that's just he's black, so it's going to be more black people there. No, not necessarily. There's good black guys. There's bad. And I'm saying black guys, comedians. There's good. There's bad. Same with white. Same with Asian. Whatever. There's some funny ones. There's not. So I don't really. I think that's kind of the same thing going on in America right now. It's just, there's another way we can play the race card.
See, I'll tell you, one of the funny things about the hecklers in this video was, I don't know if you caught it, but one of them brought their child. Mm-hmm. What are you doing bringing a child to a comedy club?
Yeah, no, it's like bringing your kid to a porn show.
Or a
I
drag
didn't know
show.
that was going to be there. Really?
Yeah, you weren't expecting.
You didn't expect to
dirty
see,
jokes.
nude people. You didn't see, off colors. What you'd probably say that, whatever the situation be, or you go to a drag, like you said, drag show. I didn't know they'd be doing. I didn't know there'd be transsexual. There'd be gay people. Like, what did you
Dancing
expect?
provocatively.
You knew what you were getting into. And that's my point. These people knew what they were getting into.
Yep.
And I could even pull back to the last episode we talked about parenting. There's a prime example. But here's the thing that I would even take further if I go back into the parenting thing. If it's so bad your kid can't watch it, it's probably a darn good reason you shouldn't watch it. It's a pretty good thumb to rule. I mean, if it's not good enough for your kid, and see, that's the naive parents, and I kind of fall guilty of these too. I'm not trying to point fingers at people and not play hypocritical, but if it's so bad for your kids, well, my kids shouldn't watch that. Then why are you watching it?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Now,
I know that's not the, contextually, people's griping about it. Yeah, you brought your kid. It's your own stupid fault. Shut up about it. That's like...
That blew me away. I'm like, whoa, lady, you brought your kid to a comedy show, which, number one, should always be a no-no, because, unfortunately, we're talking about grown adults drinking in a room together. Probably not the best environment for that kiddo. But then, beyond that, the original heckler, like what you were saying, if it had just been... this literally isolated incident, the guy makes a George Floyd joke and then he starts saying something. But that wasn't the case. These guys were already heckling him while he was on stage leading up to that point. And that's like what you're saying about, what do you do to a heckler if you're a comedian? You silence him forever. Not just that time. You don't want him to ever do that at another comedy show again.
It'd be no different than even if you took it in whatever perspective. Let's say you're preaching Sunday morning in church. And somebody gets up and starts acting a fool. I'm not saying we could get into. I'm not saying like demon possessed or just speaking in nothing like that. I'm just saying somebody just gets up there and starts cussing, ranting, raving, making fun of the. You've got to do something about it. Yeah. Now, I wouldn't recommend making racial off-color jokes in church, but I'm using that as a reference. Like, you've got to deal with it.
Yeah.
You've got to, hey, sit down, leave. Escort them out, whatever. So, in comedy, it's not an uncommon thing for them to say, okay, well, we're comedy, so what I'm going to do is start roasting you.
Yep.
It's pretty much what it comes down to, and that's a given rule of thumb across the board. I think with any comedic act, that's a rule across the board, and I think to some level, I think there's people that go to these things intentionally, like they want that.
Yep. Yeah, they want the smoke.
And the comedy guys, they feed off that.
There is groundwork for sure.
So, these people, I think it backfired in their face. So what I guess in summarizing, I'm long-winded on these things. So I think what really happened here is, yes, they kind of got their rubbed the wrong way about the joke. Okay, we can live with that. But what this really comes down to, whenever you decipher it all down, is they started getting roasted and they couldn't take the heat. And so out of response, most people, when they feel bullied, they're going to do one of two things: fight or flight. That's an old saying. Yep. And these people chose to sit there and argue, and then they kept roasting them, beating them. Oh, I'm leaving. So what, dude? I've already got your money. You've already paid for this. And the thing of it is what I've said this in media, and anybody that knows social media, especially in the podcast business, bad media for us is good media. Yeah. When people spark fires in comments, people spark fires in these things, it's usually, maybe you can get in a lawsuit or something, but it creates, drama in feeds. It gets, and I'm going to tell people how these algorithms work. People comment on it. We comment on it. You start a fight. It starts getting all these views. And guess who benefits at the end of the day? We do, because we're getting paid for the views.
Yeah. Well, and that's the sad part. So, like, to kind of go back into the comedy side of things, I guarantee you he probably wouldn't have went that far with those jokes if he hadn't seen that it was working so well on these guys. Because he brought up the part about, I like Kyle Rittenhouse too. Mm-hmm. That's just a clear...
He just took a shot.
Yeah, it's a jab at him. And I loved it. I loved every second of it as a white guy. Now, here's what bothered me, though, is a lot of black people are trying to call him a token. And basically that he is a shill for white people to make fun of black. Like they're using David Lucas to be able to say their racist jokes. How crazy is that?
Well, here's the thing that comes to my mind, and I'm not gonna name this if people can look at this, but I have seen comedic acts to this day. I mean, very recent ones too, where people have came on there, and this people probably know who I'm talking about. If they do, he looks young, and they were talking about being a pedophile. One of them goes far as to say, oh, you're like 13, 14, gets on his hands and knees and proceeds, not actually doing it, fake, but on stage, giving him a blowjob. And that's okay. We're talking pedophilic acts in a comedy act, and that's okay. Yep. But now we make a racist joke and all of a sudden, I can see, I mean, two different things, but how bad are these when you start playing side? Okay, race, pedophiles.
Which one do you really
which
get
one?
upset with?
And they're worried about somebody making an off-color joke versus kids getting abducted and molested and raped and beat, whatever else, and that goes unspoken. So I'm like, see the hypocrisy here,
because it's funny. No, and that's the thing too, is like, who else gets to make the joke?
Well, the thing, it was a joke. That's the thing. That's my point. It was a joke, and everybody's seen it as a joke.
Yep. Well, and like, you're David Lucas. You're a black man in America. You're crushing it with your career, despite what this loser thinks. But anywho, the point of it is, if David Lucas can't say the black racist joke, who can?
Exactly. Well, see, that's the thing. It's society has taught people, even white people, and maybe not the racist joke. We'll just say this: you want to use the N word, you have to pass. You can only say that if you're of certain race. You see?
Yeah.
And so this is the same thing. It's like, oh, so now this black guy gets up there and says something that basically what society starts, only something a black person can say or somebody of color can say, and now all of a sudden that's a problem too. They're all over the place. And I'm not saying they as in referencing black people, everybody, they're all over the place. I know white people, say this stuff too all the time, like, I think it's ignorance. I think it is for black people too. And people can take that as offensively, whatever you want. I think you're ignorant, even if you're a black person running around calling people that. There's a level of, I don't care what language you speak. You want that word to quit being used, and you don't like it because it's derogatory. Well, quit calling your own people that, because that's what we can call our own. No, don't quit using it. That's the thing. Quit using it in general across the board. It's not about a free pass. I don't get no free pass. Oh, you can call me a cracker. You can call me a whatever. I'm like, no, get off that crap. We don't go around as white people as a rule of thumb. Hey, cracker, what's up? We don't do that.
Yeah. Well, you're never getting rid of the word. Here's the thing: it's too ingrained in the culture. You go look at the music industry. Every other word, they got that in there. Yeah. You look at how 90% of street people talk, white and black. They're all using that word.
Yeah, and it's bad. We could talk about that. We could jump back in LGBT. You could talk about pronouns. What we call people, and but you see how screwed up society is. We have to label people as they, them. But it's okay to call them a racist slur, and it's okay, you know, to some degree. But they're one of us.
Yeah,
so let's use that same
Yeah.
method, not methodology, the same
Premise.
way of thinking.
Yeah.
So does that mean whenever you're in an LGBT community, you can use off pronouns, and that's okay?
No,
I mean,
it's
you
not.
see the hypocrisy in this. So I'm saying, you know, that's my point here. I know we've got a lot of stuff to go over here, but
Now, so David and this is like why I said at the very beginning, he doesn't need anyone to defend himself. He clearly articulates his points and really just brought it home. And I do want to shout out Willie D, because I think he did a fantastic interview, pushed back in the right places. But here's
Willie
clip.
D, it sounds like an identity crisis. You talking about his
Willie
Willie
D.
or talking about his D?
Both. I mean,
Just saying.
I think he used to be a rapper, but either way, guy was fantastic.
Nobody's naive that we live in a live in a colorist society.
When's the last time you ran into a real racist white person living in Texas?
Probably today,
How so?
because he was white.
But that's, you see what I'm saying?
I don't know.
You see what I'm saying?
I'm messing with y'all.
You see
man.
what I'm saying?
I'm messing with you.
You see what I'm saying?
I'm messing with you. But here's the deal. As far as like outwardly somebody acting racist toward me, I don't get that. I don't really deal with that.
Your generation, sir.
I don't really deal with that because
Right.
I'm not in. I guess I kind of.
Video lag, man.
On one end, I'm not in an area where, like, I'll say the police can be aggressive toward me or want to be aggressive toward me.
Why is that?
Because I'm from the hood, so I lived in the hood for a long time.
Isn't every black person from the hood?
But hold on.
There's no generational wealth.
No, well,
Not really.
everybody not from the hood.
Every black
My
person
kids are not from the hood.
Let me say this. Every black person that's alive right now is either from the hood or one generation away from the hood. Black people.
Not every. Come on, bro.
Okay, so I will transition it so people watching that, if you see the video lag, it is what it is. We've fought this video, but what I want to point out in that video is Willie D, the other black guy, talking, and then there's a lot of it's almost like he's tripping on his words or stuttering or getting there. That is not because of video lag. He you kind of get what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
He does that. So that's not a video lag. That's the way he talks. So I think he's right on there. Most black people I've run, they're all from the hood. Doesn't matter. I mean, people here in Oklahoma. What part of the hood are you from? Because you're on the west side of town.
Yeah, or Tulsa.
Which is notoriously where we're at. Notoriously is represented as the lower income. There's nice houses. There's nice people. Whatever. Nothing bad, but
Look, North Tulsa is pretty wild.
yeah, it's a hood. Why? You live on the other side of Dewey, population like 1,000. You from the hood? You ain't from the hood, dude. But see, that's the thing. That's what I'm kind of talking about. To some degree. And I know people are raised in rougher places than others, and all this other stuff. And okay, I mean, I get that. You're raised up in the hood. Okay, I was put in a combat zone at 19 years old to defend myself against thousands and thousands of people shooting at me. But believe me, brother, you don't have it bad. I'm trying to speak in terms you can understand. You don't have it bad. Oh, you had to worry about your gangs. You put yourself in that crap. Don't give me this crap of we had to do that to survive. I mean, I get that's what your way of thinking is because you have a screwed up way of upbringing, and maybe not, but the bottom line is you chose that path. Okay, I chose the path to go to the Marine Corps. And here's what I'm getting. I put myself in that situation. I could have not gone, and I could have avoided that. But the thing of it is, no, because you had to worry about watching your back. I'm going to tell you what it means to watch your back, and then watching somebody else's back.
Every day.
So don't give me that crap about I'm from the freaking hood, and the thing of it is, here's a problem with that terminology. It's like because you had a crappy upbringing, you from the hood, we'll just use that as the label. It's you're so much better, or you've had such a harder life, and everybody has a freaking hard life. It's just a person that's depending on it is how they take that and how they use it to their advantage, disadvantage, and pick themselves over. Everybody has a crappy life, man. I had a wife that passed away at 39 years old. Don't give me your crap about how bad your life is with 5 kids, man. Everybody has problems.
Yeah, and beyond that,
come on, man.
The saddest part too is that victim narrative, which is this is the environment I was raised in, and there was no other option available for me. And in some ways, I mean, yeah, you can make that argument because clearly look at the life that you lived and you chose that lifestyle. But on the other hand, and this is the hardest part to, especially when you're talking to white and black people having this conversation, as a white guy to say, hey, no, you still have to make better choices. You still have to follow the law. You still have to grow up.
Yeah, exactly.
You're now a racist for saying that. And it's not, I don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever. I'm always going to tell you that. The circumstances of your situation does not define you. You have to find a way out.
Yep.
I don't know how. I don't know what it looks like, but you have to do it. Otherwise, you become part of the cycle. And do you want that
And
or
that's
not?
what he's saying, man. It's just what he said is if you're either in the hood or you're one step, basically one generation away from it. And, you know, and I've referenced this before in other episodes, you know, you see these signs, and they're everywhere in the United States. Cigarette, it stops with me. You know, smoking stops with me. That's what it is. I mean, it's blatantly that simple. If you don't like this, then you change it. And you don't want your kids to be brought up that way. Maybe your mom and dad was that way and you followed that lifestyle for whatever reason. Then you make it stop. And that's what I think that's what he's saying. It's a generation that we're one step away. You change it. And you change it for yourself. And you make it better for your kids. You show them. You know, we talked about that in other episodes too, about, I just remember a minute ago, parenting. You know it sucks for your mom and daddy because they were in that gang lifestyle too, and you know that it sucks for you. Then change it. Well, I don't know how. Well, I'm gonna tell you, there's some simple way. You know, if you've got some criminal record, whatever, join the military. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I referenced that. You know, you might put yourself in that position, but it's better than that. You know.
Well, and you have a future.
And there's ways
after you
out.
get out.
Yeah, there's ways out. You know. Don't give me that crap, man. These people live in. Okay, here's the deal. Man, these people like from Chicago, Detroit, and I'm just saying it because these are gang. Man, the cost of living there is insane. Okay,
right.
You know, you come here, cost of living ain't that much. Now, I'm not saying bring your problem. I'm not saying you have to come to Oklahoma. Because me, man, I won't live here. It has its ups and downs too. But the cost of living, man, there's cost of living in California, man. Same way. You go out there, what costs you $1 million house there, maybe like only $250,000 here. Yeah, the pay is different. I get all that stuff. I get all that. But the cost of living is so much cheaper. So you don't give me that. Well, you tell me you can't get a bus ticket, you can't get a ride, you can't, whatever.
You can't find a way out. And you know, the irony, Willie D, I don't know if he did it on purpose. I'm assuming he probably did. But he makes a great joke in there. You know, David Lucas asked the question of, when's the last time you saw a racist white person in Texas, which is where you would assume 90% of them are from. Yeah. And he makes the statement, probably today. Oh, well, you know, how's that? Because he's white. And I laughed at it because I understood that's a joke.
Yeah, but that's the thing. But I think he's somewhat serious behind it, too.
And no, 100%. And it's not him. I think it's black people in general kind of feel that way about white people, especially if you're in a environment of we need reparations, we've been marginalized for generations, etc., that kind of victim mentality, then no, you definitely feel that way. And you can say it as a joke, and I'll laugh at it because it is a funny joke. Yeah. But I also know there's a level of seriousness.
Well, it's true,
there.
you know, and it's the same thing the other way. You know, white people, I mean, I think white people in general, at least to some degree, you know, they see somebody, you know, black, there's a perception that comes, you know, they're going to rob me, they're going to shoot me, they're going to, you know, whatever. Especially in other places are bad. But, you know, people just need to figure this crap out and quit pulling racism. I mean, I see people all the time. I was at the VA clinic just the other day, some black dude started talking to me. You know what I mean? Like, well, I got to talk to him because he's black. No, I sit down and talk to him. It's a stupid. This guy's like twice my age, man, talking about how the country is and all this stuff. You just talk some, you know, I'm sitting there waiting on medication, man. Yeah, I'll sit down and talk with you. Yep. You know, and I had a nice little conversation with a guy, you know. Yeah, he's black. Well, big deal. Yeah. Well, you know, and I talked to him. He's very intelligent. Very intelligent man. You know what I'm saying? So these things, people would just freaking put this crap aside. I mean, people just put the crap aside and just, you know, talk to people. You know, go out of your comfort zone if that's what it is. You know, white, black, green, doesn't matter. You know, people, they're good people, you know?
Well, and I think that was the general premise of David Lucas's statement, which is, dude, the world's not as racist as what you're making it out to be, guy.
Oh, and white people shoot you just as quick as a black guy. It doesn't matter.
I mean, yeah, and the biggest thing, I feel like what he's getting at here is that there's an unfair bias against white people that black people are pushing. Mm-hmm. And, you know, to kind of take it a step further, you're talking about white people's perception of black people, like robbing them or whatever. I kind of feel like that's shifted in a lot of ways into envy and jealousy in the sense of, you know, on average, and this is just Devin's opinion, Black people are stronger, faster,
They are.
funnier,
They can run,
more
man.
creative.
I don't care what people say. You can get racist all you want. You can say it's a joke. I'm not joking, man.
So-
They can run.
So how
Man, like-
how is it racist if I think this race is better than me in every way? You see what I'm saying? Like, if I feel inferior to this race, how can I be racist to them, or think that I have some type of
Well,
superiority
I'm
complex?
gonna make a little bit of an off-color joke, and people see. Here's the thing: you talk about white guys being jealous.
here
I'm
we
not
go.
gonna get too deep into this, but and I'm gonna put this in. I think the black community is a little bit gifted in other areas than the white, as they say, and people.
Yeah.
I joke around. I got guys, black guys. Yes, I talk to black people. Don't hate me.
Yeah.
Like. They joke around, and all. I joke around with them the same way, man.
So it's
and,
like,
the thing of it is, I'm trying to keep this as PG as I can. There's jokes that may come up.
Yeah.
You take it. You whatever. Some people have things, other people don't. Some people run fast. Whatever. If you can't read between the lines, don't read between the lines. Just move on and listen to the rest of it. Fine. But it's a joke. That's what I'm saying. We can joke. We can have fun with these things, and be in good company, and quit this crap about this race nonsense.
And stereotypes aren't always a bad thing. Like, some stereotypes are funny, and that's one of them. This weird thing of, we don't know for sure, and I'm never going to ask a black man to prove it. But yeah, there is some funny story to black people being well endowed. So
That's a good way to put it.
Let's see what David Lucas has to say next.
To your point.
Why do you feel like black people think the white man is their worst enemy?
I don't know if all black people think that the white man is their worst enemy, because I don't necessarily think that the white man is my worst enemy. But I do recognize that a lot of what we see that go on in this country, white men are at the head. White men do run. White men do run the prison system. They do run the court system.
So now that we know that,
they do run Congress. They do run Wall Street. So a lot of the decisions that are made in this country are made by white men. A lot of decisions that adversely affect black people are made by white men.
So now that we know that, what do we do?
Well, we continue to fight. We don't stop. We don't just listen. Everybody has
the best thing I think a black person can do.
Anybody that's ever been wronged or feel like they've been wronged, you have a right to complain. But after you complain, you do something about it.
I don't complain.
So I think, well, that's your right. I said you have a right.
There's no reason to complain.
I didn't say you had to. I said you have a right to complain. But after you complain, you do something about it. So it is quite possible to walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. I think that it's a disservice, and it's just really disrespectful when people say, stop complaining, stop complaining. You can complain about, if you feel like you've been wrong, you can complain, but complaining have never fixed anything.
No.
So you can speak on it, but you continue to better yourself, and you continue to march forward. You continue to progress. That don't mean that because somebody did you wrong, you just sit and you wallow in grief. You get up and you get out there. And
do you feel like a lot of our people do?
I think
There's a couple of things you said in there that
First thing I want to say, I don't know why I hate the term walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. I'm tired of it. I'm so tired of that saying, because look, at the end of the day, right now in America, we need to stop walking and chewing bubble gum at the same time. We need to focus on walking or chewing gum, because whatever we're doing, it isn't working.
Well, one of the, and kind of what I was saying is we obviously know, okay, so they're talking about, black people, unless they're powerful positions, white people have all these predominant positions. And here's the thing, people like, okay, white people, well, I'm telling you right now, they're screwing it up.
Yeah, big time.
I mean, so, and I don't mean this to be a racial remark, but you can't do any worse. And it has nothing to do with race. I'm talking about the people in general. You can't do any worse that's going on there. When you're talking about walking and chewing bubble gum, look at our president of the United States. Guarantee he can't do that.
Yeah, no,
It dang sure can't freaking chew bubble gum and ride a bike.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a joke, not a good one, but, I'm using that to say, it's screwed up. So it doesn't matter what race you are, you come up to that. Now, as far as what he's saying is like, the white people, black people, in these positions, I still think that in society there's places that you're not going to get to certain positions based off race. I think that still happens. I definitively do believe that. Do I believe that as a whole? No, I don't.
In certain cultures, certain environments, certain types of business, I agree. I think that you hit the top floor, the C-level executive suite, and those guys it's a boys club.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're not part of the club. Sorry. And that could be 100% racist in what they're doing and why they're doing it, whatever. The issue that I have with what Willie D's saying about, I mean, number one, it's a majority of white people here. Yeah, so imagine that. Most of the people in power are going to be from that majority race that's in the country. To take it a step further, though, are you really trying to say, Willie D, that white people aren't just as affected by these problems? Because I don't.
Yeah.
Up until I was 12, I didn't exactly have the best childhood or the best upbringing and the best environment, and I was white. So what is that? And so really what this comes down to is I grew up in the hood. Like they're trying to distinguish themselves and saying that my pain is greater because we've dealt with it longer or whatever. The problem of it is there's always been poor white people all throughout human history, and they've been marginalized just as much.
Yeah.
But the difference of it is that we don't have the same voice that they do.
If you listen to what he said, and was, basically, if you see, it's okay to argue or voice your complaint, and what he's saying, I can summarize a lot better, is it's okay to bitch, but make sure you've got a solution to fix that problem. They taught me that when I was a Marine Corps. You can complain about, boy, there's a proper way to do it. You just go, man, this is stupid. I'm not talking about that. But if you're going to complain, there's a better way to do it. Then come up with a solution.
Yep.
Don't just sit there and complain. This sucks. Whatever. If you've got a better solution, do it. But I think that's a great business thing too, in businesses as well, in brought in the proper context. That doesn't mean, okay, my way works. And here's what I kind of go by in my way of life, but business too. My way is the only correct way. And here's the reason why. Because there's not another way to do it. And because here's what I'm saying, and I know it sounds very arrogant, but like if somebody comes to me like, hey, I've thought about it, this could be better streamlined, do this. I'm like, okay, there's a better way. Then that's the way we go with it. So what I'm saying by that is my way is the best way because I'm the only one that's got a solution to this. So if anybody's got a solution, there's a better way, I'm all ears. But if not, my way is correct. And so I think he's saying some of that same, contextually saying some of the same things. But the thing of it is, just like that, if you don't like that atmosphere, you got to do something to change it. And that's what, that's partly what he's saying. Sit there and complain about it, you got to change it. Now, the thing of it is, I don't care if you got every white person out of politics right now and you put every black person in politics. You're going to have the same issue. It's going to be reversed.
Yeah. Well, number one, what's he really saying? The issue that I have with black people trying to go after certain laws and everything like that to get more rights, quote unquote, what's the trade-off? And the problem that I have is that when black people are talking, they're only talking about themselves. And how I look at it is, in today's world, in 2024, we're all brothers. Brothers in America. So whenever you're having that fight, you shouldn't just be fighting for the black marginalized community, but you should also be fighting for the white marginalized community. Because once we come together, guess what? Now we're actually starting making some real noise, and you can't divide us anymore because we understand.
We have to get away from it.
Place.
It's so simple, but it's so hard. We have to get away from this race-based crap. I'll give you a good example right now, and I can blow that argument out of the way. Oh, we need people of power. Okay, I'll give you somebody right now, and I'm not trying to talk crap because is the VP white or black?
She black.
Why do we have so much drugs in the United States?
Yeah,
she screwed that to pieces.
And high crime, yeah.
And so then you take it from that, and then they put her over this thing with gun control and all this other stuff. You see? So you can't really say that, black people, doesn't work. There is just as many ignorant white people as there is black, vice versa. It doesn't matter. I think it comes down to their agenda, their motives, what's their purity, what are they about. It has nothing to do with a race, because I can tell you right now, definitively, you put the wrong black person in there, you're going to have some very bad issues in government. And it's the same thing. You put the wrong white people in there, which we've done, you have issues. It doesn't matter about that. And that's why I say you go back when you're looking at these officials and voting, and then just talking, politics and voting. Why you vote to the best you can. You actually look at these people that the best you can, and you vote for the person that has the best standards, the moral, ethical standards, not just because they're black or they're white or because they say the right thing.
Or
because
religious.
Hey,
or
Obama's as black as they've been as a president. We could debate his race, and that's all I'm here to do, but he's as black as they've got so far.
Yeah, the blackest.
And the thing of it is, he didn't do anything for the black people. You look at what he did. Oh, this government, this healthcare stuff. I'm telling you right now, what he did was screwed you.
Yep.
And what he did is he needed the black votes, and he knew that. Just like Trump needed certain votes too, and they use that to their advantage. They politics, they do this crap across the board. I don't care if they're black, because he did it, and white presidents have done it too, and politics in general. They say what they want to get your vote, and after they get elected,
yep, that's it.
They're done with you.
Yep. And here's why: because you're divided. The black community is against the white community and these marginalized places. When in reality, they should just be coming together. It's like, hey, this white guy has just as much of a chance of getting pulled over as I do. It's just how are they going to react whenever they get pulled over? And so with that, I kind of want to actually play this next clip.
And what I'm saying is, I follow no street rules. I get pulled over by the police a lot. I get pulled over by the police a lot, sir. And this is my truth. So I can't speak for every other black person that has experienced a run-in with the police, but this is my truth, and you can't take away from my truth. I've been pulled over by the police drunk. I've been pulled over by the police with drugs. I've been pulled over by the police with illegal guns in my car. But I have one thing that I do. I watch a lot of body cam footage every day. I fall asleep to that shit. I watch body cam footage because I study this shit. I watch body cam footage every day, sir. And I have one thing that I don't see in a lot of this body cam footage, and that is respect. When I get pulled over by the police, my hands are on the steering wheel, my windows are rolled down, and my radio is turned down. I've never had a gun pulled on me. I've been pulled over drunk before. Yes, sir. No, sir. You need my license, sir? Do you mind if I reach in my glove compartment? And they can call it buck behavior. They can call it yes or massa behavior. But my goal at the end of the night is to get home to my kids.
Hey, calm down that leg, kid. Shaking his tail.
My
like
goal-
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go
As
that
far as what?
Like I wouldn't go as far as saying that's buck behavior. I think.
But
that-
I'm saying a lot of-
I think that is getting home at the end of the night. Like you say, that's proper behavior. Like the thing is that I get that part. Where
Go watch some body
I
cam
get
footage
the part-
tonight.
I get the part. where
99% of
I
the
watch a
black
lot
people
of-
that get pulled over, what the fuck you pulling me over for?
That is a lie, bro. That
Man,
is not,
I
that's
watched the
not-
body
it's not
cam
that
footage.
bad, bro. 99%, man. Come on.
Okay, 85%. All right, I get a better statistic. 85%.
And he didn't argue it. I don't know. I mean, he didn't argue
Yeah,
it. And I know what he's saying. But the thing of it is, you got to look at when it comes to social media, because that's where he's pulling the stuff from. You're not going to probably see every good scenario, but you're going to see more of the hate and negative. But I do agree with what he's saying, though. You see these things, and you're like, man, that could have been de-escalated so quick, just the demeanor. If that cop screwed up, yeah, I know it's sit there and it's hard to sit there and take it up the ass like that when you're getting freaking, when a cop's being a turd. But yeah, whenever you roll up, like, what the heck? Do you just get your donuts or something? Do you not get, bacon, pig, call him whatever you want? It doesn't matter. And the thing of it is, if it's a cop, it doesn't matter. You just roll up on anybody like that. What you doing, you stupid, whatever. You're going to be like, you're going to get that usually right back. It's not just from the cops. The difference is they got cuffs and a gun,
And they deal with that
so,
20 times a day. And that's the biggest factor that I don't think citizens think about is, who did he just pull over 20 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Was it a serial killer? Was it some guy who's just killed his wife? I mean, so
there's
now,
ways to deal with these things, and that's not the way. Mine's not like that, but I had a run in with the cops, pulled me over for not using a blinker. I'm like, who does that nonsense? And it's like, and so the thing of it is, I was cool. It took 3 cops for when it was all done with to give me a ticket. I'm like, really? And I was cool until the latter part of it. Stuck my hands. I was like, do y'all about done? We'll be with you in a minute. Okay, now you want to be a dick? Okay, I'm going to play this game too. So they give me a ticket. And I was pretty cool up until that point. And I did. Okay, yep. I played their little freaking game. So I was like, you know what? I looked it up. This ticket's going to cost me it was like $120, $160. It's been like a year or two ago. So I was like, okay. I'm going to play the game too. And I beat that sucker, but I'm going to tell you how I did it. Is what I did is I went like, if I'm going to pay, it's going to cost me $120, $160. I'm going to get my $120, $160 out of you all. So what I went and did, I went and pulled body cam footage, dash cam footage. I made all these complaints because it's stupid. You know, not that they gave me a ticket because the law is the law.
Yeah.
It was because of the way they handled it. Because if I'd have treated them that way, like, hey, what are you doing? None of your damn business. Just give them that same attitude.
Yeah. Yeah.
It don't fly.
Yeah.
And so and then, you know, you get into court and say, here's the deal, man, because what I found out through that, the Bartlesville Police Department, if you know who I'm talking about, so y'all know this, them dash cam footage that they have on their cars, they don't come on until they flip that switch to the lights. They can't prove one way or another that I use my blinker or not. It's my word against his.
Nice. Wow.
And I don't know, not everyone's like this, so I'm having them on all the time. So that crap wasn't recorded. They can't prove nothing. And that's what I learned through that. So he's not wrong. I'm saying that, you know, that was just my experience. But he's right. You know, he's watching this stuff. He sees how these people are getting invaded. But you can use these things to your advantage too, knowing you're right. And people should know their rights. And they don't. That's why, you know, like your Second Amendment rights. I'm not going to get on that tangent, but people say, I just take the gun. It doesn't matter. No, you're going to be wanting your gun when somebody breaks into your house. You know, don't infringe on these things.
Yeah. Yep.
And just because it don't affect you, because that's what we're talking about, it may not affect you being white, but it does affect some of these black people. So don't try to make a big deal because you don't. Just because it isn't happening to you doesn't mean it's not happening to them.
But the general premise here, though, is be respectful. Now, the hard part is you just brought up a great example of what happens when you get disrespected and you're giving all the respect in the world. Now, that's where discipline comes in. And what he's saying, what's your end goal here? Am I trying to get into a fight with the cops and potentially die, or do I want to make it home to my kids? And once you ask yourself that question honestly, most of the time you say, I'm going to let that go. You know, yeah, he's making me feel inferior or like this is a wrong situation. I'm being treated poorly, but I would still rather see my kids more than be right and somehow get involved with this police officer.
Well, especially if your dude's got a reputation behind him. I mean, the thing of it is, in cops that argue, we don't run your back, bull crap. When they pull you over, they know they know what's on that car. You know, they can run the tag. So like me, I ain't got nothing on. I ain't got no felonies. I ain't got no misdemeanors. I ain't got none of that stuff. So they ain't got no reason to be acting that way.
They're looking your name up.
In this situation, there's a level of assumption. If he's been pulled over, I would assume, and I'm sorry if they doesn't, but he's probably got a record. So they know that going up to that car.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. This dude is the owner of this car. They may not know that it's him or not, but okay, this guy's got a drug charge, a DUI charge. So if he has a DUI charge, they may just like, we ain't gonna pull you out for drinking, but we're gonna make sure we get a good smell of you. You know, and I think those cops use that crap to their advantage because hey, at the end of the day, cops can call it what they want. You don't have quotas, bull crap. We call it quotas in the real world. I know you all you have standards and things, goals or whatever crap because I've heard it called different things. Now y'all got quotas, and if you ain't writing tickets a certain amount in most places, there's some issues. You can't be a cop and go out here and just be the good cop all the time. Just let everybody go.
Here's a warning.
And no tickets. I'm telling you ain't gonna have a damn job.
Yeah.
So you can tell me you got quotas all you want, or you don't have quotas. I don't believe it. Show me a cop where you ain't writing nobody tickets. And you're keeping your job because you're just a good guy.
Yeah.
No, because I'd be that way. I'd be like, but I'll be honest with you, because this is where people be like, oh, cops, if I was a cop, I'd be crooked. I'd be crooked cop. I ain't even going to run from that, man. And I ain't going to go beating up on nobody. Nothing like that. I'm not going to use that to my advantage, some power like that. But here's the deal, man. You pull over somebody, they running drugs, and the dude's got 50 G's. Say, he got 50 G's. So you count it. You're doing this drug. He's got like a couple pounds on him, whatever else. Man, this dude's like, man, I got like 30. I'm like, yeah, you're right. You had 30. 20 of it just went in my pocket. Get on down the road. And the thing of it is, man,
happens all the time.
You're darn right it does. Nobody wants to talk about that crap because look at some of these cops, man. Like I know what cops get paid generally, man. These guys living on, got acreage,
vacation,
nice house. I'm like, dude, you ain't making that being a cop. Your wife's a teacher or whatever. I'm like, you ain't making that salary down. You're doing shady stuff on the side.
They bought Bitcoin.
And I mean, you look at these clowns, man. I was watching this video the other day. They can't even get their own crap right. Raiding wrong houses. You see that all the time.
Yep,
I seen one the other day. It was this drug. This undercover drug agency, they were undercover doing these drug stings and did another town, raided a freaking place, and that place was a drug dealer set up. So you had two law enforcements, one looking for drug dealers. these guys were imposturing as drug dealers, and the cops raided cops, basically.
No way.
They can't even get their own crap right.
You have to send me that story.
So I'm saying on that is look at the level of communication.
Yeah.
It's screwed up. And that video, and that shows it.
Well, and what's the premise of those situations? It's entrapment. What are you doing when you're a police officer dressing up in street clothes to go and try and get a hooker or a bag of weed?
Yeah, well, it's the thing of it is politics. It's not politics, man. It's a way our government. Here's the deal, man. You walk into a courtroom just like here's situation simple, man, like mine. My word against his on a ticket. It sounds like that because there ain't no way to prove it one way or the other. But I'm gonna tell you how this really works in the real world.
Yeah. What did the cops say?
You are exactly. You ain't innocent till proven guilty. No. Now you're guilty until you can prove yourself innocent. It ain't nobody help. You got to figure it out. You got to fork over the money for the attorney. You better know what you're doing. And here's even more complicated in the courts. There's some things, I don't care what court system you go through. You want to go do certain things, you can't do it without an attorney. You can say, well, I'm going to waive my rights to an attorney. Until you're right, but man, you lose resources. You know all types of things. You don't know when to object, whatever, argue or not. You'll lose. And so you got to pay all this astronomical amount of money. I don't care what color you are. I'm a middle-class white guy. I ain't got that type of money laying around to pay somebody $250 to $500 an hour plus a $5,000 or $10,000 retainer fee. I don't have that. And that's not to mention the bond out of jail or whatever else got you. So you'd be 20 grand into this that fast. I don't have that type of money.
And the sad part is, especially whenever you're talking about getting railroaded, I do think the black community has a lock on getting screwed over by the Department of Justice. Now, the complicated aspect of it, and I'll play the clip here in just a moment, but David gets into it's parenting. As parents, what are you teaching your children? What influences are you allowing them to have? Mm. And I think he said it really beautifully, so I'll let him take it away.
Fuck them people. Didn't y'all say George Floyd pain should be my pain? So goddamn it, we should do better as a whole. If George Floyd pain has to be my pain, we have to do better as a whole. And if you don't fucking like me, don't fucking like me. But I'm going to continue, and hopefully I wake some niggas up.
Well, I don't think that you're qualified to make that statement.
Well, I shouldn't be qualified.
You know why? Because George Floyd's pain ain't your pain.
But
so you
told me it should be.
So you saying that it don't even compute.
So at what point do I get disqualified to feel empathy for George Floyd? Where did I get disqualified for that?
When you made that statement.
How?
When you said that you would have shot him.
How many niggas have joked about George Floyd? That's not on a public platform.
I don't know who these niggas are. I don't know that. I just don't.
Maybe I just hang around the wrong people.
And I'm gonna tell you, I haven't made it. I'm not around. Yeah, maybe because I don't hang around people who make jokes about George Floyd.
Me and my black homies.
That was a tragic event.
That
was tragic.
Let me tell you something real.
And the same thing that happened to George Floyd could happen to either you and all your black homies.
It could. But it's not likely to because I follow law.
You follow law. So, yeah.
I'm not taking a fake 20 into a store.
Have you seen like all of these police murdering black folks over the last decade or so?
I study these body cams for a reason.
We saw on camera.
Yeah.
We saw on camera. Are you saying that in all of those cases that the police was right?
I'm an advocate for the police.
That none of the black people complied.
I'm an advocate for the police.
None of those black people complied.
In every case I've studied, and I studied the George Floyd case, there are a lot, and even Mike Brown, and even Sterling, who was selling the CDs, where is it, New Orleans? And even the guy selling the loose cigarettes. There are a lot of steps as black people. If our goal is to get home, there are a lot of steps we could have taken to make sure we get home. So as a whole, black people say police are racist. They say police are racist. That's what the fuck I hear black people say all the time. So if you know police are racist and you know that they're scared of you, why not comply? If I get pulled over, I'm not saying, what the fuck you put me over for, man? Fuck you, pig. Because now you got him on edge. Whether it's a black, white, Asian, whatever the fuck he is, that man want to get home just like you want to get home. So, sir, here we go. Can I reach for my license? Can I reach for that? I did that before. I don't feel comfortable. I've told police that before. I'd rather you put me in handcuffs and I direct you to where my stuff is at.
What's a little?
So yeah, there's a lot of things. There's so much
Yeah,
there.
there's a lot
I
to
mean,
unpack.
there's quite a bit there, but it's still the same thing. You know, I mean, the thing of it is, man, there's a lot there. I mean, I got a million things going in mind. It's still kind of the same thing. You know, it's how you're treating the cops, people you encounter, you know, and stuff like that. You know, the thing of it is, what I guess with the George Floyd thing is that's he's like, you're disqualified, and you know, the black community is saying you should basically feel his pain. See, that's the problem.
Yeah.
And it's you know, but bottom line, which we're gonna get into that in a minute, but I know that crap came from the BLM stuff.
Yep.
You know, you should feel his pain, and maybe to some, what maybe depends what they're contextually what they're trying to get to. I don't know. You shouldn't feel his pain because not every black person was pumped full of drugs and got pulled over, and this happened to, and it got escalated. Because see, the thing of it is,
Using
I
fake
have a problem with
20s.
this. Is like, okay, he got killed and he died. You know, they say it was from a drug overdose. I know people's going to argue, oh, that was falsified. That was just what they put in there to pacify the situations, a false report, whatever it may be. I don't know. I don't know that. I'm not the medical examiner. I didn't make that determination. But I can also go to counts where there was a guy, and dang it, I can't remember off the top of my head because I wasn't prepped to. I just thought of this a minute ago. But there was a guy got pulled over. It's been a while back. It was black people killed him. Remember that? You know, so he's in this car chase, whatever. They pulled up and then he got away again, and it was black people that beat him. Like, remember that dude kicked him in the chest?
Yep.
You know what I'm talking? I can't
Yeah.
remember where it was at or who, but it was black guys that did that to a black guy. Black cops did that to a black guy. It was you know, this drug force. Or this,
Nashville, or it was in Tennessee, I believe.
yeah, so you know, then this was like some special force, and they used their power. So that's what happened. I mean, they lost a lot of
Tyree.
cops. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
maybe.
Tyree something.
And but see, that's what's unfortunate about it. You know why I'm trying to think? You know, I can't think of the name because that's the thing. Even in my little mind, there's been
there's
been a lot
there's
that
a
I've
lot.
looked at, you know, of this stuff. So it's not just, and people need to quit saying that crap. It's just it's white cops doing this crap to black people. No, it's not, man. There's black cops doing it to black people too, and I think it happens to white people too. It's just not publicized as much because people don't have that race. White people, I'm serious, man. People don't have the white race card like black people do. That's just the facts. You know, I'm not hiding
You're
behind
racist
that.
to say it.
But I can't pull up a black guy pulls me. I mean, you just pulled me over because you're black. Like around here, man, you'd be pulling over everybody because they're white.
Right? Yeah.
You
Well,
know, and there ain't too. There's I see a Spanish. I'm sure there's black cops around too. Man, you can't. But I mean, I know a cop here in Dewey, man. He's black and he's cool. I ain't got no issue with him. He much respect, man. He
Yeah.
pulled me over before. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but it was nothing bad. It was speeding. It was a little excessive, but he was cool about it. You know, he politely told me, "This is your freebie," and I'm summarizing.
Yeah,
But
no,
he
I
was
get it.
very stern, but polite enough where I got is like, "I catch you again, you're going down."
Yeah,
You
yep.
know. But he was cool. That's my whole point. It's because he's black. You know, I didn't. But I was like, "Hey man," you know, I treat him like, "Hey man, how you doing?" You know, yeah, you know what
Respect.
you're doing? Yeah, I was treating him with respect and did, you know, here's my paper. Here's what he asked for. You know, I didn't put my hands on the steering wheel. I don't feel like I need to do that. Got my hands where you can see them. It's your job to look in here. You know, you want me to step out of the car, step out of the car. I don't care. I'll play your games for a little bit.
Right.
But that goes back on saying, you know, when your rights and knowing your law. And the thing it is, if people is concerned about this, man, you get pulled over, hit record. Hey, that's the bottom. You can record. Doesn't matter. That cop can tell you to shut it off. You don't have to listen to him.
Yep.
You can record. Cover your own butt.
To go back to what you were saying, that was the hardest part because what Willie D said there is the crux of the situation, which is you need to feel his pain and you should think about that before you speak. But you're also not qualified to think or speak about it because of what you said or your stance on the topic. So it's like that alone has to be one of the most confusing things. You know, I can't really think of a scenario for white people that could be similar to that. But you know, as a black man, especially, I'm assuming he's a proud black man, considering he is half Mexican, but he don't ever bring that up, which tells me he identifies as a black man. So with that, you have extremists from your race that are telling you how to think and how to act and what your reaction needs to be to fall in line with this agenda. And that's where it gets scary because I think a lot of the people in these groups are very well intentioned. They probably have a lot of anecdotal evidence of their own lived experiences with police encounters or the law. But there's one guy in particular who, man, I don't ever like to come after people. I don't really think it's a good way of living your life, like being upset with people and stuff like that. But this mofo, man, I've never been upset over a conversation. But I get on a Twitter space, which if you're not familiar, is basically like an audio-only Zoom meeting. And we're having this conversation about David Lucas. And he can't help himself but to call me a racist, a white supremacist. I have no right to talk about anything black related, this and that, without knowing me, didn't look into my background at all, and he's just projecting this rhetoric. So what does that tell you? Well, something's going on in this guy's life for him to come after a random person with those words.
I think it's also, because we're going to get, and I know where we're going with some of this stuff to a degree because I didn't get to preview all of it. But so you're going to get a fresh take when you hear me speak to this because I didn't get to preview it. Here's my first thought on it, and this happens. We'll pull out the race term. Let's go to LGBTQ stuff. I'm just using this example. Whenever you approach somebody with an LGBTQ, generally, and you start getting, whether it can be bad argument, proving point, good, bad, or you're a homophobe.
Yep. Yeah.
You're a homophobe. Yep. And you get, and in social media wise, you're pretty much censored to a level. And that's what I'm talking about. This is the same thing here. Whenever you start trying to have, because let me go back to the LGBT, because I have called drag queens out specifically. I've called out the LGBTQ, and believe me, I've got thousands and thousands of followers. No, I'm not big. No, I'm not big. Yep. I'm telling you, out of the hundreds of thousands that's out there, you're telling me ain't one that'll have a conversation with me, a sit-down conversation, because they don't want to have one.
Yep. Because you get shunned.
And nobody wants to. Now, some of them have responded back and said, here's why. And hey, I get it. I get some of those concerns. But bottom line, nobody wants to have that conversation. They just want to bitch and complain about it, stuff just like you were saying, but they don't have a resolution. They just want to bitch and complain, but they ain't got nothing to fix it. And I was like, hey, I'm open here. I'll just talk about this open, freely. Ain't gonna happen. So they just go, oh, you're a homophobe. You're doing this. You're being, so same thing. Race comes into play. It's the same thing. So you start saying things and defending what you say, your freedom of speech thing. And I mean, I know the conversation, how you are personally. It's not something you're a stupid, whatever, name calling, whatever. And so they just go back, you're just being racist. You're being this. You're the homophobe of black people, whatever, Hope you understand the play on words, but that's what they're doing. They're playing that card because they don't like what they're hearing. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear the other side. They've already got a wall built. Yep. That wall was built well before you even got into that conversation. Once they don't start hearing, or you make a valid point or not valid, once you start saying things they don't want to hear, I'm gonna shut you down. Most people's like that in general. You come at me like, I have the same type of personality. I'm not going to run from it because I try not to be a hypocrite. I have my way of thinking. And my way of thinking usually, I think I'm right. Most people are that way. So you come with something different for the most part, I'm like, whatever, dude. So,
but here's the thing, though. Good faith conversations.
Well, that's the thing. They don't exist, and that's what I'm talking about. This is what you encountered, was people just being like, I don't like what I'm hearing. You're a racist. You're this. You're this. Yep. That's what happened.
And then not allowing for
he's a punk. He's what in terms that we could relate to in this society, is a bitch. That's what people would say. And I'll say it. I don't care what
he called me a little white bitch.
That's the thing. That's what they reference you as.
Yep.
And that's what it is. I don't care who it is. You're less of a man. You call yourself a man. You can't even have a big boy conversation with somebody without name calling.
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of what it is.
And muting. That was another thing too that really pissed me off. Is hey, I'm all for letting people state their opinions clearly and to the fullest extent.
Yeah.
But don't mute me as I'm trying to make a point because you want to dunk on me.
Well, you're shooting down his. You just go ahead with the stuff. I'll get there. I got plenty on this one.
So here we go. So I knew immediately, oh my gosh, this guy's going off the rails with a guy that he has no idea who he's talking to here. Because for once,
you got a picture of this guy? You got a picture of this guy anywhere?
I don't.
It's fine.
But anyhow, so right here, this is just for context. You can see my name down here in the bottom left corner, just to prove that I definitely was in this conversation and I definitely was speaking in it. Just didn't get to talk very long. Now, so I just...
Okay, so right there's the dude's name. Sir
Major Page.
Okay, yeah. You can look him up.
He's albino.
Albino black guy.
A former actor, too. He had an acting career for a little bit. But here we go. I'm just going to read this to you guys, just in case you can't see it. So the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Cleveland Division, Toledo Resident Agency, and the United States Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Ohio announced the arrest of Sir Major Page, a.k.a. Tyree Conyers Page, age 32, of Toledo, Ohio. A complaint was filed with the FBI's National Threat Operations Center in April 2020, alleging that Page was fraudulently utilizing a Black Lives Matter nonprofit organization by way of misrepresentations and by posing as a Black Lives Matter leader.
There you go.
An investigation was initiated and determined that Page had created and operated a social media page by the name Black Lives Matter of Greater Atlanta. This page was set up BLMGA as a nonprofit organization capable of accepting monetary donations. BLMGA was also listed as a nonprofit organization with the fundraising website GoFundMe. Now, this is where it gets interesting. A bank account named Black Lives Matter of Greater Atlanta Incorporated was opened in 2018, so 2 years before this thing happens. With Page being the only signatory on the account.
Okay, is there a page to this, or just leave it there?
There is.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is where...
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, this is nasty behavior, allegedly. So from April 2018 until May 2020, the balance for this account ebbed and flowed. However, it never had a balance that exceeded $5,000, and at one time, it had a balance of negative $12.42. In June 2020, BLMGA's social media page received approximately $36,500 in donations. In July 2020, it received approximately $371,000 in donations. And in August 2020, an additional $60,000 in donations. All of this money was transferred from the social media donations to the bank account titled and operated in the name of Black Lives Matter of Greater Atlanta Incorporated, owned and operated by Page. So what?
Okay, so
what are you going to do with all?
Is there more here?
I mean, all they're going to do is basically break down how he was blowing money. But let's read this part up here, because I thought this was hilarious. Numerous videos and live stream videos were posted to Page's personal social media pages, showing himself in what appeared to be newly purchased clothing, hotel rooms, and office space in Atlanta. Several audio statements are made by Page in the videos, boasting about the money he has, his tailored suits, and his nice cufflinks and $150 ties, and boasting about my room way up at the top. At the top. They put the bottom feeders on these floors.
Okay, you go to the next one. Okay, so, I mean, my first take on it is this. Pending this is true allegations, I tend to think it is, because if you look this guy up, you're going to see a lot of this stuff. This guy is an albino black guy, so he looks white, but
you can barely see him in the top left.
Yeah, well, he looks like an idiot as far as I'm concerned, but either way. So here's the thing. So let me try to get this in context from what I just read. So this guy gets on there, he's advocating for black people, whatever, but this same black guy that's claiming to be black, advocating for black people, is taking advantage of black people by creating a false BLM account, and by that it was just a little shy of a quarter or $500,000. I mean, like what, 370, another 59, so $400,000+ that he had shuffled from, I'm not going to say the black community, because I'm sure there most certain white people, whatever. Yeah. You know, but in the name of BLM, the Black Lives Matter movement, which I'm not advocating for them or one way or the other.
They didn't deserve this.
But no. So this guy is taking money by making this account that basically looks like them and getting these many people donating in. And yet, so maybe break it down a little further. So he's black. He's probably, like we'd said earlier, and I'm summarizing, being smart aleck here, but there's some truth behind it. So he's from the hood. He's got all these issues. He's trying to take care of his brothers, is what he's going to say.
Right.
And so how he does that is he takes advantage of his own people.
Yes. Exploits them to the utmost max. And how do I know that? I mean, because look at number one, anyone who's willing to impersonate Black Lives Matter as a leader of that organization, that's a good red flag indicator of probably some other things you're willing to do, such as grifting and being a race baiter. And that's exactly what he is.
That's the thing. I mean,
he has a great co-host, by the way.
The thing of it is, the guy, you know, bottom line, he's doing these things in the name of black people. That's the thing. I'm doing these in the name of black people, but I'm going to screw black people over to achieve my agenda by false means, fraud, and false representation to do it. I don't think he's concerned about the black people. I don't think he's concerned about anybody at all.
Well,
And so, again, I don't care if the guy's black, I don't care what race he is. He's taking advantage of people. These are the type of people. He's under investigation by the FBI, supposedly, right?
My room way up at the top. At the top. They put the bottom feeders on these floors.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Prison time, maybe he'll get a top floor with Bubba. I don't know how that works out. But
here's the issue with that, though, because what do statements like that show you about this individual? It wasn't ever about the actual movement. It was about himself. And how do I know that? Because you're using donated money to purchase a home, new suits, et cetera, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. People can give you money, and then you can go out and make purchases. But whenever you're telling them, hey, I'm part of this organization, and none of this is going to go to me personally, that's called lying.
Well, see, there's things, you look at the speech, I look through these things. See, here's the problem I have with some of the stuff. You talk about you're trying to get him canceled and censored and all this stuff. The gravity of Lucy's actions must be understood in the broader context of our struggle. It ain't your freaking struggle. It's everybody's struggle.
Yeah.
I understand you may have to pay as a black person. You may understand that, but I'm sick of this. This is the crap that I get so sick of. It's our struggle. This ain't just your it ain't just your freaking problem. Because your problems affect everybody else too. And just like mine does and everything else, this is everybody. Yeah. But that word, our problem, I know what he's saying. He's saying this is the black people's problem. This is our black people's struggle. This ain't a black person's struggle only. It's everybody needs to get this crap. Because I can tell you right now, you go to freaking Muslims, people from Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, I can tell you they've got problems too. They're labeled as, they get identified on the road. You go into a gas station, say, oh, it's a terrorist. And it's real. They get profiled too. So this is not just this is our problem. Only black people have this problem. Bull crap. Quit using that type of language. This is everybody's problem. We all have to get collectively to fix these things. And it starts at home. This freaking clown, same thing. You're sitting here, I can make fun too, because I don't even know what side of the fence he rides on. Is he white or black?
He identifies as black.
And I don't even know that he may not be Irish. We could sit here and play this race game all day long. I can play it too. The dude's white.
Yeah, he's whiter than me.
He's got the kind of the black person type hair, but it's red. Yeah. You can call it blonde. I don't know if the dude's black, white, or Irish. Which one are you?
It's tough.
But here's the thing. You can sit here, see what I'm saying? I can play that game too.
And label him.
If I want to label and label and talk crap on you because of whatever, you can look at me. You're just some stupid fat redneck from Oklahoma. Go ahead. You can label me whatever you want. At the end of the day, I don't care. Little sir, whatever your name is, you can talk crap on me all you want, because I can come back after you just as equally if that's the game we want to play. Just like I'm doing, I can talk just as much crap. But see, that's the problem. And you try to have a conversation with the clown. What's he do? He plays a little kid move. No, I don't want to talk about you. Get on my show.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm going to tell you how this is going to work. You will sit your ass down and you will have a conversation about things as a grown man. And if not, I got a little cool thing set up I have. It's called a mute button. I'll mute your ass if you can't handle yourself like an adult. And that's how things work. And that's how it should be. We should be able to sit down, and I'll bet any amount of money on any amount. And I'm calling you out right now publicly. Get on my show. I'll talk with you on it. And I'll bet money you can't keep yourself freaking civilized. And I use that word correct. You can't keep yourself civilized and talk like a grown man. You want to handle like the hood. You want to handle like your little punk ways. That crap don't work in real world, and that's what we're trying to get away from. Yeah. That's why these guys like this are an issue. And I'm not just calling you. I'm calling about anybody else that acts like this. Yep. You're the issue to society. You keep this crap fueled off false pretenses and taking advantage of people. Start doing things right.
The number one, you bringing up the whole mute button thing, I'm triggered by that. So if he does actually end up wanting to do it, I have to give you control of the mute button.
Well, it's not the point. The point of what I mean by that is like, what I mean by that is people like that. And it's not just him. There's a bunch of you can't have. I said that with the LGBTQ. You can't have these conversations because they can't sit down and have a conversation. And whenever you say something they don't like, and start making all these stupid jokes. I get this guy on here no matter time. I guarantee I'd show his ass. Guarantee it.
And that's the problem.
I can prove it. And I don't even really have to. I don't even really have to have it. So you take as me offering you to come on my show. You're not worthy to be on here. So don't waste your time calling me because I'm not going to have you on here anyway. I can see it in the text.
Yep. Yeah. No,
I can see it in his everything.
It's race baiting. And here's my issue with it, because this isn't solving anything. You coming after a comedian for telling a racist joke isn't solving any problems. You may think that this is helping, but all it's doing is exposing you and the group that you're a part of as racist grifters. You're the problem and stirring the pot and trying to turn this into something that it's not. And then to further that, it is us versus them. So they don't want the real...
I mean, that's the thing. I have like I said, we have thousands of people following us stuff. We busted our butt to get there, not under false pretenses. See, that's the thing. We've grounded out. We've had to get the following. We've had to, by the things we've done and speaking and engagements and all these other little things that podcasters do and stuff like that. I'm no means the best at it. I'll give people that, but we've earned that. We have fought for that. This guy gets under false pretenses. How he gets it. You don't rate to be on here, dude. You don't fit in the world of podcasting. You don't fit in this world because you did it fake. You shouldn't get a voice.
What I would
people
say
say
is
you're censoring.
You
Well,
have
that's
to
fine.
you have to let idiots like him talk, because that's how you expose bad thinking. And so kind of my idea or logic here is, no, we need guys like him to talk as much as humanly possible, because what they do is expose themselves in the process. And
All they're doing, the thing of it is, like I said, all they're doing is making this guy more famous.
bigger. Yeah. And
That's all he's doing.
And that's the funniest part, though. Meet David Lucas, a struggling comic whose entire performance is dedicated to pandering to white supremacy and making anti-black racist jokes, all while at the expense of black Americans. Is this not a joke about a black American that he's doing? It's embellishment. Clearly, he's not actually that fat in real life. So you're making a joke about a black guy as you're trying to call out a black guy.
I did on the previous screen, too. We're going to call Kill Tony.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a lot of pull with that.
Oh, and...
but like the thing of it is, when I'm getting with Kill Tony, you don't think that it just, and I know this because I've seen it, I'm telling you, he ain't the only black guy that's made racist jokes on Kill Tony. So good luck with that one, buddy.
Well, it's very dishonest to say he's a struggling comic, because the guy literally quit Kill Tony because he has so many shows.
Let me tell you something. In the name of comedy, that dude ain't struggling. He eats well.
Yeah.
That's not that is a joke. And I'm sure that if David Lucas sees it, he's gonna understand that's a joke.
Yeah.
I didn't get this way from exercising and eating healthy.
Yeah, you weren't struggling.
Bro ain't struggling. I'm telling you. I don't have a problem with what he does. I could say maybe that statement. I'd be like, I don't know.
I wouldn't say it.
I just kind of like, I don't know. But I'm not like utterly offended by. I mean, it's a comedy act, and that's the thing. Under comedy, my gosh, there's so much stuff under there that people get away with. That it's ridiculous.
So, I wanted to add some of these screenshots for more context of the type of guy he is, rather than having these conversations with David Lucas himself. He wants to call David Lucas's mom. And then that's how David Lucas ended up getting involved to begin with this guy. It's like, dude, don't call my mom. I'm a grown man. Deal with me.
Oh, I know.
And then to take it a step further.
Fat mama jokes. It's like you did whenever you were in high school. Middle school, whatever.
Can you help me to understand this? So you have a black American who is fighting for black rights and trying to uplift the black community.
No, that's not what he's doing.
What is he doing when you're attacking a black comedian and going after his career?
Well, here's the thing,
That's not helping the community.
What this is my point being, this dude's butthurt. That's why he's putting this up here. Unacceptable. The Funny Bone Comedy Club, whatever, thought it would be appropriate to book this struggling comedian. We could argue whether they're struggling or not. I already said that. But they booked him. Obviously, they don't freaking have a problem with it because they understand it.
Because,
that's the thing. The only reason this grabs some of his attention is because of this freaking guy right here. Maybe some other. There's some people, but the thing of it is, it's comedy. It doesn't matter. You put 100,000, doesn't matter. You put 100 people in there. Ain't 100 people going to think you're comedy. There's some comedies out there. Joe Rogan. I love the guy. I think he's a good podcasting. His comedy ain't for me.
Right.
I like the guy and I don't know him personally, so I'm not trying to take a personal shot at him. I'm just an example. It's just not that's not my style. And some of these other ones. What was the other guy? I'm drawing blank on his name too. He passed away.
Ralphie Mays?
No. The guy that the Disney character.
George Carlin?
No, the Disney dude that did all like Aladdin, the voices and all that stuff. And I mean, gosh. Well, Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, okay.
He's one of those too. I don't really care for his comedy stuff. That's just
my
style. But I think he's great. I think whatever. And so, just because you hate him, you come in here and crap on him because you don't like it. I'm just saying, what I'm trying to say there is just because your comedy fits, everybody's not going to like it.
Yep.
That's why I'm not going to pay to go to one of these shows. If Joe Rogan right now, just an example, I'm not trying to call him out. I'm by no means, it's not my intention. But if he had one of like, hey, I'm doing a live episode on a podcast, and like, sign me up, dude, I want to watch that.
Right.
Hey, I'm going to be doing a comedy act here. I'm like, it's whatever. Just not my thing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like our show, it ain't for everybody. I get that. Like that's just how this is. And so this guy's butthurt because it goes against something that he's contrary to, which he's contrary against himself. He's taking, and as far as I'm concerned, from a platform-wise, from what I can see, platform to platform, this guy, Sir, whatever, I don't even know how it's
Sir
say
Major,
but he can't even spell that right. It's M-A-J-O, or not. I don't know where your spelling comes from. But either way,
it was probably already taken.
That name I doubt was his birth name.
Yeah, no. Well, it was the Tyree. Let's go back to it. Tyree Conyers page.
You already have an identity crisis going, which I understand. I mean, I see the identity crisis. No doubt.
I understand.
So either way, you've got this guy. He's taking advantage of black people. And what I'm comparing, the two side by side. I think this guy probably has a little bigger following in some aspects. Maybe, don't know. And I really don't care. But the bottom line is he's taking advantage. Is Dave Lucas? Look at it this way: is David Lucas taking advantage of black people financially?
No. Nope.
Is this guy? Yes.
Yes.
He's taking their damn money and using it for his own personal interest.
And look at what and here's the thing. This is like how you can find the grift for what it is. Look at all the people that he's tagging in these posts. Yeah. He's wanting attention from these guys. Well, he doesn't care what happens to David Lucas. He wants the attention of, look what I did.
Unfortunately, like I said before, bad media in some degrees is good media. And if you're already facing FBI trials and stuff like that, what's this going to hurt?
Now let's read David Lucas's tweet here, because apparently this upset Sir Major. I'm just starting to be convinced the guy doesn't understand comedy. The sacrifice MLK made is the reason we can now have sex with white women. That's clearly a joke.
It's clearly a joke.
That's clearly not him going after Martin Luther King's legacy and saying that, he's not a great civil rights leader. No, it's a joke made on MLK Day from a comedian.
Because I can go the opposite of this too, because Martin Luther King is, I think he set the premise.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of people after that did probably just as good work for black people as he did. He was just the voice, I think, that kind of started it.
He's like Michael Jordan.
You hear so much about George Washington, Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
I don't think that they were so much better or worse than anybody else, because they were like the one that got it going. They were like the one that's, whatever, solved
history,
whatever.
Aligned.
Yeah, I made the light bulb. Yeah, that affects everybody. That's why it's big, because they're just as people is just as smart.
Right.
I think there is.
And they probably already had made it.
So that's what I'm getting at. I don't know. I could chase this a million different ways too. Yeah, so
the point of it is, though, it's just like, this is how insane this man is. Yeah. I'm gonna dig up your tweets from a comedian
and let him do it. That's the thing. Let him. And I'm glad that David Lucas will stand on, what he says. Hopefully he's the type of person be like, hey, dude, if I was wrong, but I'm gonna tell you, my message would be to Dave Lucas. It probably doesn't matter, not as dude. Don't die on the hill. If you think you're wrong, admit it.
Now here's
don't
why.
Do it because of public pressure.
This is the scariest part to me, because there's people that are going to read this and they're going to believe them. These statements are not only dehumanizing, insensitive, and anti-black, but also is a clear endorsement to state-sanctioned violence, police brutality, and a glorification of violent acts against black Americans. Such rhetoric is not only morally reprehensible, but also potentially incites further racial animosity and violence. That's what you've been doing the whole time with every one of your posts. You've been doing that right there with your rhetoric. But you're trying to go after David Lucas for it? And then to take it a step further, are you really trying to tell me that this is a clear endorsement of state-sanctioned violence? A man telling a joke on a comedy stage, which last I checked, everyone understood that.
The whole thing is, I like Kyle Rittenhouse. That was just a personal shot.
Yeah, it's a jab.
It's a jab. And the thing of it is, you really look at the Kyle Rittenhouse case.
There weren't any black people died.
Yeah, but I don't know how wrong that kid really was either, because here's the whole.
Shouldn't have been there.
Here's the premise, because what was causing that? Yeah. What was causing this?
Riots and burning down.
And so people can come in here and burn your shit down?
Yeah.
raid your house, whatever, and steal all your crap. And you're supposed to do nothing about it.
Or how about this?
Now,
They can
the
pull a
premise
gun
of
on
him
you.
being here in the situation,
Yeah.
I get that. But see, here's the reason I bring that up. Now let's go back. This has been proven to some level. Our government, as far as the BLM too, I'm gonna go there, but they have instigated and funded riots.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we don't talk about that. Now, one thing
We don't talk about Bruno.
I did want to bring this up.
People know what that is.
Yeah. I
There's
actually,
that aged me.
danced-
That doesn't age me. That tells you we got kids.
yeah. No, I actually just danced to that song at the father-daughter dance not that long ago.
Really?
Anywho, but you
gosh.
brought up the N-word pass, and so I didn't know if you had seen this. But again, a comedian with a Patreon account. What do? You got to make people laugh somehow.
What is it?
So
me get out
he
of the way so you can
so he created the N-word pass.
People can read that.
So
You're gonna read it, I'm sure. So it doesn't matter.
you get an N-word pass from David Lucas. It's good for 1 week and 1 week only, plus all other benefits. And it's $1,000.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. Did this come from a Kill Tony thing? Because here's the reason let me get my mic. Did this come from a Kill Tony thing? The reason I say that is because a lot of black communities, do we get the N-word pass? Is this like something he just did as a joke to that? Or
I mean, they've definitely joked about it numerous times on the show. It's kind of more Tony's
okay, so
joke
here's my question.
than
Call
David.
me racist, let the feeds begin. So if Sir Major puts this on here, does he get it half off?
I would assume so. I think
Just honest question.
what if both of his parents were like LeBron James
Or
and Serena Williams?
Or in this case, this guy's supposedly, because here's his shot. Here's the Sir Major shot. This is not somebody, hey, well, he's Hispanic,
yeah.
but he's also black. So does he get it like 0.25% off?
Yeah, I would assume. I mean, yeah.
You know, see people, we can make fun and joke and, you know, whatever. Even this guy, like, I have no intention to him. It's just a joke, you know, like, and if he claims to be, I don't care, in this day and age, you can claim to be a leprechaun. If you want to be a leprechaun, dude. I mean, that's just what it is. We got people identifying as cats and dogs. If you want to identify as and I mean, he's obviously a black,
as a black
that's
person.
fine. You know, like if that's what you identify, pick one side of the card though and play it and stick with it.
Now, I will say this: if he's allowed to identify as black, shouldn't I?
I mean, you can identify as whatever you want anymore, and I'm not even playing.
I mean,
playing society.
like,
you can call yourself whatever you want.
I
mean,
wouldn't
like,
because
but
ultimately
that's how
it's just not
screwed
me.
up. That's how screwed
But-
up this stuff is. You know, and again, this is, you know, yeah, we're not a comedy club here. But that's the thing. We're just joking, like. But these are legitimate things that all I'm doing is I'm doing what I stood by from day one I started this podcast. I'm going to say the things that everybody else is thinking that nobody else say, and I just said it. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah, well,
And I'm joking. I don't care if the guy is clearly albino from what I can tell,
Right.
But I don't know.
well, and I
ain't the first freaking white boy that's probably made fun of him for it.
and I hope that
cares?
the FBI affidavits is just one big lie. I'm not going to say that I'm going to take the FBI's word that this man is a criminal, but unfortunately, they don't come after you unless they have something on you, and that's just one way or another. And then I go and look at your profile, and I'm seeing this kind of rhetoric, and it starts to make sense. And that's without even really digging deep in this guy's past and seeing what he's really about.
Well, this guy's a far stretch to come up with anything that he's saying against this guy. I mean, thing of it is, man. I'm not trying to wrap any. I don't know what you got left here to do, but
Yeah, no.
it's not. It was comedy, and you know, if people you don't like it. This is a big freaking deal. This guy has made a freaking fool of himself, as far as I'm concerned, with his little freaking cult following.
Yeah, yep.
You know, and it turned into this. I'm not even picking David Lucas's side on this either. I'm not really picking sides. I just think the other guy is just
He's a
completely freaking dead wrong. He's a hypocrite. That's the problem. If he didn't have all this stuff lingering on him, you know, there may be some there's more credibility in your word,
Right.
But like and it's not even so much that he has maybe even a criminal background. Like, dude, you are taking advantage of black people as it is. You have no business
created a
going and trying to
fake
call
organization.
another black guy out for making these, you know, interracial comments. I'm like, really?
And pandering to a certain
I'm
group
like,
or demographic. It's
that's where it starts getting like, dude, what are you yakking? But the thing of it is, that's the ignorance of people, because he's got people buying into this stuff.
Well, and that to me is the hardest part to wrap my mind around. Is like, Dude, you did straight up create a fake branch of the Black Lives Matter movement and call yourself a leader of the cause.
Yeah, it's
Not like that. That is crazy.
Yeah, you don't see white people coming up saying, "Hey, I'm a KKK leader. Put me on your, give me money." Like, no.
I run the NRA branch for Dewey now. All of a sudden, I'm just going to create a NRA Dewey page and start running it.
Yeah, he took advantage. Donations. He took advantage of what. He took advantage of people, and I'm not going to sit here and say black people too, but he took advantage of people. But I'm going to kind of look at it from the black community. Crap that I hear is we're from the hood, low income, we can't take care of ourselves. Whatever word you may want to inject in there, this guy is taking advantage of you, taking your money.
He robbed you.
Of $340 or $370 whatever $1,000.
Yeah,
to put in his pocket
and bought a house.
And
then shit on you in the process.
Like, yeah,
it's like
boy. And then he sat there and basically said, "Well, you bottom feeders."
Yeah. Who's he referring to?
The people that in this situation, and I don't even usually call an action to people on stuff at all. But if I was a black person in this situation, I would be going after that dude, not David. There's a bigger fish to fry out here in the sea. It's people like that causes problems. That's the reason why crap. That's problems. Why, in this society, why we have to look out for scammers. Mm-hmm. And that's one right there, but just foreign country, whatever. People scamming people all the time. We get people take advantage of the elderly, especially get taken advantage of these things. Here again, this guy does it. It's publicly known. And that's who you all or want to ride or die with on this. I mean, that's the thing. That's your ride or die with on this topic.
Kind of like George Floyd.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man.
Can't you pick a better
martyr?
So,
yeah, they're not even voicing their own concern. They're getting on this guy's freaking platform of ignorance because you can't even have a conversation. That's proven. We've already proven that you can't have a conversation. That's why I desire really not to even entertain it.
I'd be curious if he could.
I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, I don't think he could.
I've dealt with people like that my whole life in aspects, and with people like that, they can't have a conversation. And if they do, I can guarantee you, if they can't even have one, it's just a subtle way to try to talk crap and try to prove their agenda on this. I don't care about what your agenda is, because the bottom line of it is you have no talking point. You cannot sit here and criticize and talk crap on a black guy like that when you're freaking taking advantage. You're doing the same thing. It's just a little bit different side of it. You're taking advantage of it.
Well,
you're causing racism is
because
because
his response.
I mean, it'd be interesting, I guess, per se, but I'm sure some way, some fashion, this will all come out in social media at some point in time or another like this. David Lucas, I think that, the stuff you did, I don't know that I agree with that. As far as other stuff I've seen, I don't have an issue with it, and people's paying to go. So, Sir Major, I guess the only thing I can say is kudos to you. You're making him famous. Keep up the good work, because that's what you're doing. I'm telling you, man.
PR team loves you.
I'm telling you, people's already booking him. Yeah. You're making this guy famous. He's already getting more. You see it. He's already getting on podcasts and other shows just to defend. He's making
of what
money.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So. You don't think he has some PR team or somebody looking out for that stuff in his best interest? Going like, yeah, man, that's $1,000,
yeah,
$50, $100, whatever it may be. You're making him famous.
Yeah, and more tickets are getting.
You're giving him the clout.
Yeah.
And Kill Tony. I'll get you off Kill Tony. And since I'm not saying you don't need Kill Tony, but you're doing a darn good job for him.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. He has a golden ticket with Kill Tony, so he ain't going anywhere.
And so, next year, the year after, you'll be sitting around in your prison cell looking up at the TV saying, man, I made that guy famous.
Yeah. Oh, wow. He's funny. Well, that'll be fun. But either way, thank you guys so much for listening to this tirade. Like I said, not too often I have to call someone out, but hey, it's 2024. But either way, drop a like. Maybe let us know what you think about this discussion, because I know it can get pretty heavy real fast. But either way, thank you all for watching. Have a great night.